Oh, there we are, there we go. So first of all, aloha in the chat. And then of course, aloha in the cam. Aloha lads and gents. Welcome back to a new episode of A Sense of Capital Crunch Time. Your host of today is always Julian. And I'm very glad to have all of you in. I'm not sure actually how much you are or how many. Maybe you are one person, not even one person whatsoever. I always give my best, and so guys, make sure you stay tuned and keep the line. And I'm very looking forward for the upcoming minutes. I guess this call will be around 45 till 90 minutes, even though it's a hard gap. You never know about what kind of topics and subjects we need to discuss, because today, as always in crunch time, we will guide live, or I will back live, the earnings results of a company, and this time this call will be 100% focused on new bank, the digital bank, world's and globally by the number of customers, strongest and largest digital bank in the world actually, guys. So that's definitely something what I would call impressive. And guys, before we step further into the topic, into the details, into the numbers, into the expectations for the earnings and reviewing them, of course, I need to, of course, address a quick disclaimer to you guys that in the upcoming minutes this will not be any financial consultation, advice whatsoever, and there is no guarantee for the correctness of the provided data. So make always sure, do your own due diligence, evaluation, make sure you know what you are investing in, and here I'm just sharing my opinion, my view on the things, but that's definitely not something which is 100% right, for sure not. Maybe it's even 100% wrong, guys, so take care. Maybe it's a trap, but if it's a trap, it was not on purpose, I can tell you guys. And you can see first, let's remove this, first stream with a shirt on, with a business shirt, so you know that, I mean, even though it's now in Germany, it's 9:36 p.m. in the evening, Central European time, it's quite warm for German conditions, or in German ratio. What is the temperature actually? I need to, it's hard to see, it's very difficult to figure out. Okay, however, I thought at least a moment ago it was something like 21 degrees Celsius, so that's something quite positive for the people over here. So keeps people awake. Spring is definitely around, and nice to see, nice to hear. And I'm not anymore freezing in the car, so best temperature actually to do this kind of streams. However, so what we talk about today, as again we focus the Brazilian digital bank Nu. Let's share quickly my screen so you get a better idea of it. And even though it's not perfectly, you're not seeing everything perfectly, it's more important that we know what we're talking about. So what is Nu? Nu is basically a bank headquartered in Brazil, and it's active as well, of course, in Mexico. Second largest market, is definitely a strong emerging market, and the third largest market, but quite tiny compared to Mexico, and especially compared to Brazil, is Colombia. Yeah, so big hope on Mexico currently, and maybe on the midterm, long term as well, Colombia, and let's see where they will be in the future, regional active too. Yeah, so there's a lot of potential. So what does it mean, digital bank? As you can see here, yeah, it looks good. I mean, it's different, let's say it's standard, classical, traditional tasks they are executing and providing, and services they're providing to the customers. I mean, digital banking account, first of all, credit card supply, then PIX transfer service. PIX is the national money transfer service, which is just accessible in Brazil. Then we have life insurance on top of it. We have mobile insurance, as you can see here, personal loans, and even investments. So what is actually quite interesting for us, maybe few of you who knows of the audience are located in Brazil, and maybe already invested in a new stock, a new bank, through Nu itself, which would be amazing, I guess, yeah. So this company is very highly focused on B2B, not B2C, not that strongly B2B. Yesterday we talked about StoneCo, which is very strong focus, I mean 100% more or less focused on B2B, but this is business to customers, so personal, private persons like you and me, and therefore you can see here the regular stuff, but they have as well, of course, a B2B department and business arm. And as you can see here, they have business accounts, business credit cards, and for payment they have Nu Tap. Yeah, so this is existing as well, even though really all eyes are on the B2C sector, on the traditional stuff. And of course, what makes that special compared to the traditional old economy banks is that it's a digital bank. Yeah, so there are more or less no on-site stores, yeah, no subsidiaries, this kind of stuff, no shops. So yeah, it might sound awkward because some people, especially the older ones, would think, okay, the service level is not that high. But on the other hand, I mean, especially the younger generation are very used to really be customers of the companies which provide you the best service, not which have the best reputation, or let's say the oldest and the longest tradition and longest chronic. That is not so important for guys like us. And still, the service is great. It's more important when you need to make a phone call that someone is reacting, or if you have a chatbot or something like this. And I think that's definitely the case at Nu. Yeah. So just to give you some additional information in regard of Nu, you can see right here, or you can't see it, but I will tell it to you, that it's actually my third last position. I'm stockholder or shareholder of 5 stocks. Overall, a little bit more than $80,000 US, maybe $85,000 US right now. It's changing each day, and today was a good day. However, so roughly, it's, let's say $80,000 US. It is my third largest position with $13,500 US. Yeah, so I'm invested, or initially purchased it last year March. So 1 year, 1 quarter I'm invested, and now I'm up 150%. I don't think actually it's still a bargain. Maybe let me check or share with you the chart so you have a better idea. So one more time, as you can see here, it was listed in December 2022, really on peak times when a lot of stocks, a lot of companies have been traded quite high, valuated very high, especially the more digital ones. And Nu Bank had the perfect timing for the IPO, let's say for generating a lot of money, which they can utilize. But on the other hand, for the investors, right after, look here, price was, I mean, look, now it's more or less equal on the IPO. So the persons who stick to their position can be lucky. But if you decide to sell it on the path down, which was a very strong one, and then it stayed here for, you can see it here, May till May. So for 1 year, you need to have strong nerves and stay patient and be very disciplined. And of course, not everyone can do it, make it happen. Some maybe they need to rely on some money they are invested in, and so they need to sell or whatsoever. What is the background for getting out of this stock? However, so since roughly 1 year, the company, so basically since I'm invested, actually, sometimes you're lucky, and this time I was. So since 1 year, a little bit more than 1 year, it's recovering very strongly, and it's recovered again roughly 150%. Yeah, so that's really not a lie. I'm honestly invested since, yeah, really, it's recovering. The price is recovering very strongly, and even though year to date it's rose by 83%, roughly 40%, very, very strongly performance. Guys, I mean, what I should add here, I mean, it's even a stock which is still backed by the grandmaster of value investing himself, Warren Buffett, out of Oklahoma, the Oracle out of Oklahoma, and his company Berkshire Hathaway. And Yeah, so yesterday, for instance, we talked about StoneCo, which is a point of sales, payment and digital bank and software provider out of Brazil. And there he was invested as well to past quarter. And then he sold all the shares. But in terms of new, he decided to keep them. And I understand it, because really, from my perspective, new is really something unique. Yeah, just my perspective, my view on it. It's quite remarkable and magnificent how low on failures this company is performing. Really, it's executing so well. The time is right. I mean, you need to know that the Brazilian market is quite separated, guys. Yeah, in terms of banking, and a lot of people are underbanked or unbanked at all still in the Latin American market. Of course, that's changing very, very quickly since Nu launched their business and provided their services. However, it's still the case that there's a lot of potential left. Compare this to the Western world, to the US, to Europe, something like this, to Australia, for instance. Yeah, and or Canada. Yeah, I don't want to miss anyone. However, so that's actually still the case, and so there was a lot of potential, and especially younger generation, or the people which are not equipped with a lot of wealth, with not a good fundament. They didn't have any access, or it was difficult to get access to the financial and banking infrastructure due to the fact that basically there are, I think, 5 well-established banks active primarily in Brazil. Yeah, and they are coordinating the market. Basically, it's not a cartel or something like this. So there's not antitrust issues or whatsoever. But yeah, it's quite old economy, let's say it like this. And then Nu stepped in. They saw the chance that especially younger people, they have no smartphones, digital bank. It's the right time. It's the right approach to provide really the citizens, the population of Latin America, but starting with Brazil, access to the financial infrastructure, to the banking system. Yeah, and that is what they are doing, and they're doing it quite well. I mean, look, guys, let's take a quick look at the annual revenue development, which is remarkable. Again, you can see it here. I mean, I don't need to tell something to the numbers, I guess. I mean, the jump of 2023 to 2024. Okay. I mean, that's not correctly accounted, but you can trust me. We can take a look, and maybe the quarterly results look a little bit better here. Okay, this gap is not a realistic one. However, it's performing very, very well. It's on an adjusted base, already profitable. It has very unique KPIs, which are very, compared to the competitors, to this old-fashioned bank institutions over there. They are very efficient, and I hope they will stick efficient, and keep their momentum. This company is not. I mean, regularly I'm invested in companies which have a market, which have an enterprise value of something like 1 till 10 billion. Yeah, so let's say average 5 billion. But this company actually is valued, and I think reasonably valued higher. Where's the cost structure? Capital structure. Here it is. So you can see it here. So market cap is 54 billion actually. Yeah. So not sure if it's still priced on a fair level. I could imagine that if I would not be invested, I would still invest actually. The major reason why I'm not investing anymore, it is already my third largest position, and I'm satisfied with the performance, and I'm happy with this kind of size to be invested in one stock. So I don't want to right now invest further money in it. Let's see. I mean, yesterday StoneCo didn't perform so well. They missed on the top and the bottom line. And if this might be the case of Nu, and I think Nu needs to perform, I think it's a more bearish market at the moment globally. The investors are a little bit more sensitive in terms of missing targets or announcing bad outlooks, bad guidance for the future. I could imagine, so Nu needs to perform, no doubt about this. And if they are not doing this, and the expectations are very high on this company, because again, they're executing quite flawless in the past quarters. If that's not the case, I can imagine it really, that has definitely a negative impact on the price of this company, on the valuation. And then, depending on how strongly it drops, I can really imagine to invest more money in it. Yeah, definitely something what I see as very realistic. So, I mean, because of the, honestly, I mean, investing is for me a business, yeah, but I really like the idea, I like the approach to grant access to the population in Latin America and try to enhance the overall situation, to enhance the economy, grant the people a better living, and that's something what I really respect. And even though, of course, for them it's as well business, it's not a social act, you know, it's not a non-profit organization or whatsoever. I like it very much, guys. I can't tell it differently. Okay, guys, maybe we can check out the latest earnings results, and then we go a little bit deeper in it. So as you can see here, I hope you can see it. Let me check this out for you. Nice. Here we go. Here we are. And those are the results in terms of EPS, earnings per share, and revenue of the past quarters. And as you can see on the first glance, it looks quite greenish, but they are, I mean, okay, I told it it's flawless, but it is basically, for me, flawless. Yeah, I mean, the expectations are so high, the improvement is so strong, and even though they missed a little bit the EPS very, very slightly in the last quarter, or in August last year, for me absolutely fine. For me it's absolutely fine. For me it's definitely an investment on the top line, on the revenue side. So I invest here to see revenue growth. That's really the target, of course. And nowadays, do the basic rate, the interest rates of the central banks, I always prefer if they are somehow profitable, or at least not really burning cash as really a wildfire. I don't hope that's the case, but that's, as far as I can recognize it, it's not the case at Nubank. And still they are growing heavily, and beating their forecasts really with a lot of momentum, really hitting through it. You know, you can see it here. It's US dollars, stated in US dollars. So here roughly 200 million beat, 150 million beat, 100 million beat. Last quarter it was 400 million beat. Yeah, crazy. So even there's always the case that maybe they don't even achieve the same revenues level of last quarter. However, that will not be, for me, not change things too heavily. And I honestly, I don't accept strong misses. Yeah, I don't think they miss that strongly on the expectations, on the guidance of the forecast of the analysts. I don't expect this will be the case. However, we will see this. But why I'm not expecting this? So first of all, we can see it already here. Look, guys, in July last year, they announced they have now already 18 million customers in Brazil, which is quite amazing. And at this point in time, they had just 1, 2, 3 million customers in Mexico, and 6-digit number, something like 100,000 or so customers in Colombia. Yeah, so the business was really at the beginning, and it was everything all over Brazil, and it's still by far the major driver. However, now I think 1 year later, let's say, so here in this case maybe that 82, 83 million customers overall, and you can see now, not even a year later, yeah, just 10 months later, they suppressed the really this barrier of 100 million customers, yeah, and because of this customer count, they are really globally the largest digital bank which exists, yeah, not only publicly traded, just in general, really 100 million. Look, they already stated here, in the text. So basically it was already some pre-announcement, you could call this. But they already stated that here 92 million customers are in Brazil, 7 million in Mexico and 1 million in Colombia. Let's see if that will be stated in the earnings results on the same level. I mean, maybe it was really, I mean, this news is just 1 week old roughly. And I mean, we're talking about results of past quarter. So maybe it was not 100 million to this date. However, now it's 100 million. And Mexico is growing very strongly as far as I can recognize it. Very, very strongly actually. Quite impressed. And yeah, I mean, I think 250 million or something like this. 250 million citizens are located in Brazil and 92 million are customers of Nubank. I mean, and keep in mind, adults are assisting as well. So I mean, they have more than 50% market share of adults in Brazil at the moment. Quite impressive. So that's something what I really want to focus at. Something else is an aspect which you can't really all the time. Wait, let me check quickly if someone is viewing, because so far there's quite a lot of silence in the chat, which is nothing negative. Yeah, 2 active viewers. Thank you very much for joining. It's an absolute pleasure to have you in. So that keeps me motivated, of course, as always. So what is very interesting actually, guys, and this is something what I didn't talk about in the past quarters, so there's always something new, guys, when you join here, is the Net Promoter Score. I mean, the Net Promoter Score, you can see it here, Net Promoter Score is something where a lot of companies globally are rated in terms of satisfaction of the customer base. So it's definitely a relevant number. And guys, I mean, again, this is something what you can't evaluate the numbers. Yeah, you can't compare, when you compare new to whatever, SoFi from the US, which is as well an upcoming, really emerging and strongly growing player in the banking business, in the digital banking business. But when you compare it, I don't know what is the Net Promoter Score of SoFi, honestly, guys. But what I know is that this one is crazy high, and the bank stated, you need to rely on it, yeah, but do internal numbers. The Net Promoter Score, so the satisfaction of the customers, is 3 times higher than the competitors which are established in Brazil and in the Latin American markets, so the old economy. That's crazy. And I mean, all of us who are interacting with old-fashioned bank institutions, and I guess a lot of us have made this experience or still making it maybe. Of course, there are always some advantages if you have your local store or whatsoever and you get some consultation by your bank manager, bank account manager, whatsoever. But on the other hand, I mean, there are always some downsides, waiting hours, this and that, and old-fashioned services, expensive conditions, because I mean, taking care of orphan banking infrastructure with a lot of stores costs money for the bank. If they want to change it or not, it's not that easy, guys. Yeah, and they can't change their strategy like this. You know, I mean, they very likely will compete with companies, with digital banks like Nubank, and tell, look, guys, we have stores. You can really come to our stores and confront us or communicate with us in person. And as soon as they would close all the stores, but sooner or later need to do this to stay efficient actually and be competitive to this in regard to this kind of companies like Nubank, yeah, they really kill their very likely major advantage and argument for their business, because they have stores and Nubank has no stores. Yeah. However, still 3 times more satisfaction based on the numbers of Nubank, yeah, which is again quite remarkable. Yeah. And maybe because I already mentioned it, look, guys, this is Nubank, and it's quite interesting company. It's getting a lot of focus from investors all over the world currently, And I was invested in Nubank and I was invested in SoFi. I mean, SoFi is way cheaper, way lower customer count, but still great growth, great development as far as I can observe it from outside, let's say it like this. I'm not so heavily focused on it. However, 1 year ago, I was really thinking about should I invest more money in SoFi or in Nu, and I decided for Nu because really I like the market. I like the young generation, the hunger, the motivation, the ambitions of the Latin American market, of the potential, of the lower level, very likely of competition. I mean, there's not so much competition, not so much struggle going on like in Brazil, like in US. Yeah, when you compare Brazil to the US, Brazil, I think, especially 10 years ago, was way easier to enter the market, and yeah. So I've decided against SoFi actually. So that's the case. So guys, let's go on. I mean, what we need to consider as well when we talk about a business in Brazil or in foreign markets, I mean, depending on where you're located, but I'm not located in Brazil, unfortunately. What you can see here is the ratio between the Brazilian real and US dollars. So luckily all the numbers today are stated in US dollars because yesterday everything was stated in Brazil reals. And who joined the call yesterday, this person know what kind of struggle I have with always, really calculating the exchange ratio between both, and sometimes I'm messing up the numbers. So this will not be the big risk for today. However, so Brazilian real is the currency they're making their money, and as you can see, it's quite stable in the past, let's say 4 years, but year to date, it's down by more than 5%. Yeah, so the currency getting a little bit weaker and weaker. 5% might not mean to you a lot, but actually it is. Always depending, of course, on a business case, on how strong in terms of margins the business is, and this kind of aspects. And in general, are we talking about products and services which are highly affected by currencies or not, and a lot of international trading whatsoever. However, that's an aspect. Yeah, so keep in mind Brazilian real and the currency getting weaker, and that's not that great. However, on the long term or midterm for years, it looks more or less quite stable or even increases slightly. Yeah. Another aspect which we need to keep in mind is the Selic interest rate or Selic interest rate. I mean, Banco Central do Brasil, so the base rate, the interest rate of the central bank, like the Fed in the US, like the European Central Bank in Europe. And as you can see here, it was very, very high. It peaked to September 2022 to a high of 13.8%. Yeah, I mean, some markets like US, like Europe, they are already suffering by something like 5, 6, 7% interest rates, and of course there's a reason for this. However, compare this to Brazil, way another level. But luckily, since let's say Q3 last year, it's dropping from 13.8%, and nowadays, since this month, it's on 10.5%. So already covered 3.3% in the past months. Quite happy about this, and that's of course very strong tailwind for the market. The private persons over there in Brazil, they have more financial power, more motivation and more appetite to spend money, invest money, get loans, get support from financial institutions like Nubank, and so that's definitely a positive aspect. And what is as well positive is when we take a look here, Moody's, one of the 3 largest rating agencies globally, they just improved the rating of Brazil as a country and the credit worthiness, and it's still not the best rating, but it's a good sign. It's a good sign that the overall economy is getting more and more stable. And sometimes you would think maybe about this different, but it looks very, very strong. And next to the quite financial stable currency exchange rate, to the basic rate, to the interest rate, to the rating of Brazil, because the primary market at the moment is Brazil actually, and a lot of markets they see Brazil as the big brother, let's say it like this, in terms of their own business, and they are orientated on them. And as long as something is working in Brazil, maybe other countries over there, like Argentina, like Chile, whatsoever, are maybe orientating as well on these developments. Yeah. And what is nice as well, and now we take first time a look on the second largest market, on really the now growing market, Mexico. And you can see here in the headline, the Deglobalization winner of 2024. I mean, that is something. It's an assumption. Yeah, nobody knows what will go on or what will be the case in 24. But at this article, and I recommend to read this, it's absolutely available without any fee. You can see how strong it's developing basically. And I want to set the focus. I mean, when you take a look at who's the strongest trading partner of the US, yeah, and some people of you would think someone in Asia, like China, or someone in Europe, or some other Asian country, or whoever, maybe Canada. But actually, you see, it's Mexico. Mexico is the strongest trading partner. It was not the case in 2022, but based as of July, you can see it here. That's the case in 2023, since 2023. So really they overtook and took the lead in regard of Canada, and already China was down a little bit, not in 2022, but 2020, but since then Canada was in the lead. So Mexico really go ahead, and you can see here, I mean, shows fixed investment in the country at the multi-decade highs. Yeah, so really a lot of liquidity, a lot of financial power, a lot of money gets transferred and invested into the Mexican market, you know, and that's, I mean, it's part of this deglobalization. One more time, the experience we all had during Corona, and maybe you are active for business as well, where the supply chain was struggling. I mean, in all of our life, very likely supply chains struggled, no matter if it was grocery, food, industrial or engineering products, whatsoever, commodities. There was a lot of tightness existing and limitations present. And because of this, a lot of players, especially in the Western world, they recognized, okay, guys, oh, wait, guys, maybe I hope that was not a mistake. I just checked the coloring, changed the coloring, but I think it looks good for you guys. However, so a lot of countries, the governments, and the regulators, they decided, guys, we need more local support, and the companies as well, of course, the global players, they figure out, okay, we need supply chain more locally. We can't just rely on players which are located on other continents, and if something like this, or war or whatsoever happens, the business goes down very strongly. So that's this deglobalization background. And one more time, so the investment goes really strongly up, and I mean, companies like you can see it here, Medtronic, Honeywell, Samsung, Sony, a lot of automakers, they are active over there now. Yeah, so quite impressive. However, not everything is positive, and that's something what is currently very up to date, and that's the current flood which is going on in Brazil. A lot of people get killed and isolated from the infrastructure, of course, and some robbery is going on as well over there, but that's not the reason why I'm talking about. You can see here, when we take a look at the map of Brazil, and you can see the western part, mideastern part of Brazil get hit very strongly, especially here, this area. However, yesterday at Stoneko, and it's again a Brazil company, because I was wondering what will be the effect on the upcoming quarter. And maybe, guys, we check quickly if the results are already publicated, because already 10:07. Oh, it's down after our 7%. I mean, guys, I'm already used to it, because for Stoneco yesterday it was not that different actually, guys. Okay, let's check out if the results are already available. I mean, when we invest in companies like which are located in Brazil, 5-6% is nothing too strongly in my opinion, because on the other hand you can see 150% in a year can happen. Yeah, earnings release is live, you can see it right here. However, I will stick to the schedule, just finish here my my information, my input, and I think in 20 minutes, maximum 20 minutes, I will take a look at the results and go through them. But however, I need to finish today a little bit sooner than yesterday. Yesterday the call took 120 minutes or 150 minutes. That's for sure not the target of today. So let's go quickly on. So we have this Vlad. However, Stoneco yesterday, another Brazilian company, in the call the management stated that at least at their business, it's just covering like 5% of the revenue. And so maybe it's here as well, something like 5% revenue. And yes, the payment business and this kind of stuff is affected in some areas and limited by almost 40%. So even though it's a very unfortunate, very not nice, very bad development over there in terms of weather conditions, in terms of the market, the people over there, but in terms of investing, I think it will have a limited impact on the overall development. Yeah, that's what I expect. So guys, before we go further, I take a quick sip, and now we will go a little bit more quickly into the valuation. I hope you can see it. Yeah, here you can see all the stocks I'm a shareholder of. Good evening, AS200. Yeah, don't wonder yourself. I already recognized a moment ago that the earnings results are live. However, I will guide them, or we back them together in, let's say, 15 minutes, I guess. But I want to finish quickly the briefing of the company. And here you can see Stoneco, what I already mentioned about. But on the other hand, I'm invested in 4 more stocks. And you can see that really new is in the front of in terms of revenue, in terms of sales development, with an expected blend 2024-2025 of 37%, very, very strongly. So again, expectations are very high. EV sales ratio is not that strongly and not that low. You can see almost 4. I mean, these are numbers from 10-15 days ago, but not changed too heavily since then. The price earnings ratio is on 23, which is not that bad. I mean, 2024, 2025, so very likely it's now 30 or something like this. Definitely not that low, especially not for a bank institute, for financial player, which is confronted with a certain level of credit risk. Yeah, and this kind of stuff. There are default rates, and their customers will not pay back the money they get by the bank. So something what we need to consider. And when you take a look at the fair price multiplicator, it was on 2.2. Doesn't mean that it's undervalued by 100% or something like this. So the current price should be multiplied with 2.2, and that's the fair price. But you can see it in how it is compared to Alphen, a European player, to Grab, a Southeast Asian player, to Hems & Hers, which is quite a popular brand. And you can see it's definitely not cheap. Even though it looks cheaper than Stoneco, based on the fact that it's really a bank, 100% banking business, 2.2 is really not cheap. Yeah. But on the other hand, again, net promoter score, customer base, the economy, the country which they are active in, the regional potential, all this kind of stuff. We talk about some details in a few moments. Makes it very special, and they're executing, since I'm an owner, quite well. You can see the latest call, I rated it neutral, and it's ranked on, it's my second favorite position, even though it's very expensive. For me, I mean, you always think, how long can this go on? How long they can perform that well and develop that strongly? But on the other hand, yeah, and it's not cheap, but I think it's really something, a business case what you don't find everywhere in the world, and not at any moment. maybe something like this was not existing in the past 30 years, and I'm very glad to participate on this business. But now the stock is a little bit down, so let's see how how happy I will be later on if I check the numbers. Just a quick glance on the quick look on the old numbers, old earnings results of past quarter, Q4 2023. I mean, revenue was fine, was neutral. They covered it more or less, even though it was quite strong. I mean, actually, maybe I should put it in green. However, profit was negative. They had a small miss, but it was negative. Some smaller KPIs, position 1 to 3, everything more or less quite well. And then we come to the highlights. I want to set a quick focus on. Again, they missed the EPS target. Okay, we already talked about it. But then we come to the more neutral and positive aspects. And what I like is that the customer active rate is quite high, or it is even increasing. I mean, you can see it, the development of Q4 2022 to Q4 2023. So the past 5, is it 5? So that's correct. 5 quarters. And yeah, it's increasing, and it's on 80% up. It's quite strong when you imagine that they now have 100 million customers. And if they can keep this level, it's quite impressive. And then it's getting really interesting. I mean, cross-selling is an aspect that's something what not every company can execute. It's not that easy to acquire another company, and then you think, there are network effects and synergies, and they are the customer of similar products, so we can sell our products to them and whatsoever. So this kind of synergies sounds on a first level always very simple to realize, but cross-selling and upselling, I think, is definitely something. It's masterclass, and they can do it. They make it happen. You can see it here in the past 5 quarters as well. They developed their ARPAC, stands for active revenue per average revenue per active customer, and so yeah, basically, let's keep it simple. Revenue per active customer, and they developed it by 20%, something like this, 20, 30, 25% in the past quarters. And there's still a lot of room for improvement, guys, because I read something that the established banks in Brazil, they achieve a turnover in the quarter of something like 30 till 50 US dollars, yeah, and they are at 10 US dollars. Even though the development looks great, what is important to understand that even if the competitor is not doing 30 till 50, but just 20 or 15 dollars, yeah, which is very, very realistic, there's a lot of room for improvement, and really that will definitely, you can find this later on in numbers, yeah, especially when the customer base gets improved more and more strongly. And what I want to not hide from you as well is another aspect, the cost to serve, which is simply outstanding. Yeah, I think it's compared to you can see it here, 85% lower than traditional banks with 9 or let's say $1 US per customer in month. That's crazy. All of the stuff we need to keep in mind when we talk about the valuation of this company. That's the reason why I think it's so unique, yeah. And for today, that's the last thing what I will share with you before we really finally jump into the results, is my expectations. There are different KPIs which are deposited here, which we enter later on, and we can check out together if the development is great or not, so get a better feeling of it. But just on the top part, I mean, we have here the EPS forecast is 0.08 US dollar cents or pence per share, and I want to see one more cent. Basically, that's the result out of when you compare the difference 1 year ago between 1 quarter early and later was 1 cent, and I want to see as well that on the absolute base they develop like this, yeah. So 9 cents per share is the target. And when we talk about revenue, here my expectations are even a little bit higher. So 1 year ago, they from quarter to quarter they developed by 170 million US dollars, and I want to see the same development. So last quarter they achieved 2.29. Is this correctly? Let me check this quickly. I have still opened the... Oh, they achieved 2.4. Okay, but I would be happy. Let's keep it like this, 2.46. I mean, I would be definitely happy with it. Yeah, that's something what my target is. And when we now go through the results, I prepared already a sheet with different metrics we will check later on. Short term is the stuff which we keep an eye on today, and midterm, long term is something what is not that easy always to catch in numbers, or which is something which is not getting focused taught heavily today, even though regional expansion is very interesting. I mean, again, now active Brazil, Mexico and Colombia, and even US could be interesting, guys. It sounds really awkward, but look, I mean, there is a huge Latin American crowd existing, yeah, a lot of population, people who lived in the past in Mexico, whatsoever, they are now living in the US, and maybe they are compared to the older locals, let's say like this, yeah, not the Latin Americans ones, they are comparatively underbanked as well, yeah. So there's as well, even in the US, potential. It sounds awkward, but maybe they even do this kind of step and really go into the most competitive area, more or less, of the world, I guess, in terms of banking. I could at least imagine. There's Mercado Libre with Mercado Pago, so there are competitors, of course, as well in terms of banking. I mean, old economy, but as well Mercado Libre. But I think that's more interesting or more crucial in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Not that right now. Yeah, now they just need to make sure to execute well and to convince the customers to be in general customers of digital banking, of Nubank, and yeah. So that's the case, guys. We take now finally and look into the results. It's not actually that late, just 90 minutes after 10, and I want to just quickly update. Wait, I share my screen. Update. Yeah, okay, it's already recovering the after hour results. 2.6. I mean, it was 10 minutes ago, it was at 6 or 7 minus, something like this. If that's the case, it's fine. I mean, again, they executed so well in the past quarters, and it can't be forever that that's the case. But here, after market price, 3.55 at the moment. I think a lot of eruption is going on currently. I mean, it's changing very, very quickly. However, guys, I would say, I mean, I need to slow a little bit down the air condition. I would say really now it's the time to jump in. And we very quickly, because we're running out of time, I want to make sure I'm not wasting so much time for you. I mean, it's quite late, at least here in Europe. Is it working? It doesn't look so well. One more time. Hopefully hopefully my Wi-Fi connection is not messing up my hotspot. Guys, if you can do me a favor, you can write something in the chat, and then I know that still the stream is working. Maybe it's a struggle on the side of Nu that the results are not active. Oh yeah, we have 8 active viewers, so I guess everything is working fine. Thank you very much, guys, for joining. So I hope I make it happen that the results getting displayed. But it's now it's working. Now it's working. Now I can share the screen. So there it is, finally. Perfect. Guys, there you are. There we go. And I always think, guys, every time, okay, should I really do another call about the same company at the next earnings results? But there's always something new. I mean, that is what makes this business or this hobby so interesting in my perspective, this activity. And I prepared new KPIs to compare this time. I'm really not a financial expert, a banking expert. I think banking, as far as I know, is one of the most difficult types of companies what you can screen, actually, but at least I try. So keep this in mind. Okay, let's check out. What was the target was one more time? I mean, forecast revenue was 2.16 billion, but I want to see 2.46 and earnings per share 0.09. Let's check out first the revenue part and then we go a little bit more into the details. Where we go? Net income, okay, added 5.5. Okay, that is, I mean, that will be solid, but I want to see the revenue first of all. Okay, here we go. Here we are. Is this correct, man? If that's the case, it's very good, very, very good. I can't stand at all that it's negative at all when we talk at least about this revenue, but it's just a number. I mean, there are so many different data and details, but so far revenue looks really, really strong. And I directly, look here guys, I'm sharing the screen. I directly start to enter the numbers into the Excel sheet. So 27359, so we're not wasting any time. 2735.9. There we go. Fuck, that's true, guys. Really, man. I need to look. I need to check. I need to check Seeking Alpha and I need to check investing.com what is going on over here, because that sounds quite strong. Yeah. Okay, it's real. Not mistaken. Damn. So revenue side is very strong beat, very, very strong beat. And again, for me, revenue is by far most important when we talk about this company. And yeah, you can see it already. EPS on a neutral scale. That is not something what is a heavy beater or something like this. But yeah, okay, guys. Okay, then let me quickly already enter the earnings per share. So that's for me actually a miss. I can already tell. That is what I don't like to see. That's negative. Oh, that's too much. It's almost 10 times. Oh. So here we go. Perfect. So I mean, it's really one-on-one to the based on the forecast. Yeah. So they hit just the forecast, not crushed it somehow. But that's something what is for me negative. However, let's go really now into the details. Yeah. I want to see what is going on over here, and therefore I will enter now quickly. We want to see and take a closer look at the customer base. I think. Oh no, let's start with the look, guys. I mean, the reason I prepared this is that we have a certain structure, because I'm not always the most structured person, and we go really through it from position 1 to 3, and we start with the banking efficiencies, just the general numbers which very likely every bank in the world has access to. I think should have at least. And first we start with the activity rate. What is the activity rate of the customers? I mean, okay, they have 100 million customers, but really, how much of them are active? And here we got the activity rate, and it's 83%, and you can already see it's untouched, not changed at all. And that's something positive, because with 83% I'm happy. I mean, not really positive, 84%, 85%. Even if it's a slight improvement, it would be very good. But 83% is already, I think, a very good level for the banking business. So one more time, we add this number, and you can see it here, 83%. The next one is, now we know how many of the customers are active, but now we want to figure out what is the revenue per active customer, guys. Yeah, and I already mentioned to you that is definitely, when we talk about profit, about revenue, it's not just about increasing it by getting more customers, but really providing more products more aggressively, not only in Brazil. I mean, in Brazil they roll out the product portfolio the strongest, but as well in Mexico and Colombia sooner or later. I mean, you will start with a classic bank account, you will start with a classic credit card, but then you will improve, and then you have this insurance business, even smartphone insurance stuff, even investment solutions, and this is really what is going on now very strongly in Brazil. And There's the question how strong the customers are adopting over there. So guys, we go back to the report, and this time I'm looking for the ARPAC expansion and increased to 11.4. Yeah, that's strong. I can't understand it. I don't understand at all right now. I can't understand at all right now why the prices stop dropping. I really don't understand it. Really don't. I'm very convinced right now. I mean, EPS again, okay, it was not a huge beat. That's fine. Still fine, yeah. Maybe people out there want to see it's improving stronger over there on the bottom side, bottom line. But you can see it here. When you look into the details now, it's 11.4 US dollars. We compare it to the past, guys. And you can see it here. Let's go back. And here we are. It's sometimes difficult to work here in this car, but I love it. I love it. It's my private zone. Let's say it like this, my comfort zone. And you can see it's improved very, very heavily. I mean, it took a year to go up by 2 US dollars. Yeah. I hope you can see this. And so Q1 2023 till Q4 APAC. And now in just one quarter up 0.8 cents, US dollar cents, pennies. I need to really make more research about this topic, however. So it's definitely accelerating. It's definitely accelerating. It's definitely something positive, yeah. So far, activity rate neutral. It's not improving, but it's basically positive because it's already high, but I keep it neutral. APAC, for me, definitely a positive aspect. Now we come to cost to serve. So really, what is the cost to serve per customer, yeah, per user? So one more time, we go back into the actual report and earnings release. Serve. Let's see if we find it here. Cost to serve, stable cost to serve underscores operating leverage. Yeah, okay, it's stable. And that's great. That's great. I mean, not sure if that's good or not, but when we take a look at the history, and actually it was increased, it's not like decreasing and it stopped to decrease, it's increasing. And now it's stable since 3 quarters. Then I guess it's good. And as I mentioned already earlier, it's 85% lower than the competitors because no local stores and this kind of stuff. Yeah, so really, man, guys. So actually, the number itself is a very positive one. But I mean, we compare it to the past. We compare it to what was already priced in, and that is not something new. That they are very strong over here. So that's neutral. Even though the number itself is still a very positive one. Yeah? It's quite similar to the activity rate in my perspective. And now we go to the net interest margin. I mean, basically net interest margin is really the, as far as I know, and again, I'm not an expert in this regard, but it's really the driver, the KPI when we talk about banks and how they make their money and to compare banks to each other. And yeah, so that is something what we definitely need to keep an eye on, and I actually didn't keep an eye on this interest margin. And honestly, I didn't focus this in the past, but you know, I mean, you never should stick on the net. Here we go. Oh yeah, and it's increasing. That is what I love to see. Even though I can't even evaluate or rate how good this is or not, but you can see that it improved very, very strongly Q1 to Q3 last year. Then it improved just slightly or was more or less stable over 2 quarters. And now, boom, again, 1.2% up. Great. Love to see this. Love to see this, guys. I mean, very likely if you read the text, you get more details about this and about the background, but this is something what I can't cover over here. That is up to you to read this. I strongly recommend it. I will do this for sure as well. Maybe not today, but the next days. However, 19.5%, again, something very, very positive. yeah, that's green for me. That's positive. Yeah, so I color always my the results and the different KPIs. And one more time, yellow, activity rate is yellow, RPAC is green, cost to serve is yellow, net interest margin is green. Yeah, so far so good. And now the last really detailed KPI when we talk about bank efficiency is the default rate. Default rate is basically when you grant the bank customers money and they can't pay it back. Simple as that. Yeah, so that's the risk, the credit worthiness, or however you want to call it, how you can measure it. And here we want to see that it's stable or decreasing. Yeah, it should not get higher, it should get lower or stay on the same level. I mean, as a bank, it's always the question who you grant credits, who you grant money. In general, I mean, you will always find new customers, and that's something why banking sometimes is evaluated on a lower scale than other businesses. In other businesses, you can't just, I mean, you can lower the price of something and then you can sell more, but then you lose straight money. Yeah, as a bank, you can just grant money to customers who not granted money before. You provide money before, access to liquidity. And in the first days, in the first period, it looks good. But then some guys going on and they all get knocked off and you lose a lot of money and miss the payments. Yeah, and this is something, so again, very crucial from my perspective. So let's check out, guys, what is going on in this direction. But you see, I mean, that's the reason why I'm convinced by this company. I like it. I like the KPIs. I like everything what I see about this. Okay, when I use the search engine, I'm not finding the default rate, but maybe we can find it on the old-fashioned way. I mean, why not? Would not surprise me. On the other hand, I think it should be a chart or something like this. Yeah, here it is. Okay, they call it the delinquency ratio tracking expectations. Yeah, I think that's it actually. That's the default rate, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, and that's going up. Yeah, so that is what I can say on the first glance. That's not positive. It's a little bit small, but I can tell you 50 till 90 is 5%. So I enter this quickly. And the 90 plus days stayed quite solid with 6.3. That's not that bad, however. So let's go back and I share with you the Excel sheet. And maybe I keep it like this and make it now very simple. So to color it a little bit. So activity rate, yellow, RPAC, positive, cost to serve. Even though these numbers are already great and high, yellow, not changed too much. Net interest margin, really crucial aspect. Oh, wrong button. Positive, and default rate. I honestly, it looks not good for me. Yeah, let's keep it like this. So overall, it's a quite close call. And even though the numbers are not bad, especially activity rate and especially the cost to serve, which is really outstanding for those markets, I would rank the banking efficiency section as neutral one. So here we go, and we can add as well. I mean, we can do it already in detail. Look, then activity rate was, RPAC was greenish. You can see the top right, the rating, how it results. So RPAC, cost to serve, net interest margin was positive. Default rate was actually negative. Oh, it was negative. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Look, I need to stay focused. And then I change quickly as well here the default rate, the coloring of it. So red. Okay. And so overall, I give this one yellow. Yellow, that's the statement. Revenue is for sure green. I mean, it's a very, very, very strong beat. No doubt about it. EPS development is a miss. And I actually give it negative. Even though it's not that strongly negative. It's just a miss, guys. Yeah. If I would be 0.9, I would be neutral very likely. I would be satisfied. It's okay. If it would be more, let's say 10 cents per share, then I would be positive or something like this, I can imagine. But now this is negative. Just for me, I need to be strict. However, this revenue beat is crazy. It's crazy, and that is, for me, is definitely positioned in the front and way more valuable, way more prioritized than the EPS development. I mean, revenue comes first, and then you can adjust it. You have larger customer base, and you can roll out more products, and you can save general and administration expenses, sales expenses, marketing expenses. Here you have a lot of leverages you can work on later on to make sure that the EPS level is right. But I like to see that they're really grabbing market share, especially from the old economy, especially in terms of to Mercado Libre, even though I think the competition is still not that strong at the moment, or they have their businesses. But this is what I want to see, and I see this, and that's the reason why I'm invested in new, and I could be more happy. I mean, till now, the call looks better than last quarter. That's just my opinion. So we go to the next area, and that's the product rollout in Brazil. And here we just take a look at one KPI, and that's basically the revenue per customer. But to calculate this, we need to first, I mean, we can do both topics together. I really need to now add the customer base, which is very, very interesting. Yeah. So guys, we go back to the report, and we check out. I mean, I prepared something here in the Excel sheet. So customers, Brazil, Mexico, Colombia. Let's go. Let's figure out if we can find it. I'm quite confident we can, because the structure is more or less always the same here. And I think it will be strong. I mean, I can't imagine that it's a bad number. But however, maybe that's the reason, that's the cause why the price is not developing that strongly. Okay, so expectation reaching 90.93. Yeah, you see in the news it was already it was already 100 million, and 7 million Mexico, 1 million Colombia. And now when you take a look at the results, it's just 6.6. Just 6.6. So in a very short period of time, they achieved 400,000, or very short, but in a comparatively short period of time. However, let's check out the numbers. So in Brazil, the customer base has grown to 91.8. 91.8. Go back to it. Add the customer base number. Brazil 9.8. Hopefully that looks strong for me. Then we had this one more time back. We had 6.6 million. Wow, that's strong in my perspective. Mexico, 1.5 million more. That is, if I'm not mistaken, that is, I think, for sure strong. So here we are. And Colombia, in total, in total we have how many? Because a lot of times they're not stating Colombia separately, so I calculated out of the overall number, and they're reaching a total of 99.3 million. Wait, I share one more time. This, you can see it here. Yeah, Nick, I can tell you I'm not in a spaceship. Yeah, I'm in the car. I love to do it right here. I have my safe space. I can be very loud. Actually, in the apartment, I can be loaded as well. But I like it. It's just my style, how I play it. And if I'm on a business trip or visiting some people, I can still do it on a mobile way, yeah. But actually, that's a special feature when you're a viewer of my channel. I'm always, or at least I try to do this out of my car. Sometimes I'm in a hotel room or something like this. But yeah, that's the case. And I love that you like it, Nick. So thank you very much for having you in, and thank you very much for the nice words. And I'm not getting somehow blamed for this poorness that I don't have a big studio or like a musician or something like this. However, so 99.3 million is the overall size. No, so not 100 million catched. And however, that's not a big problem. We added a 99.33.000. There we go. And then we know, okay, we have in Colombia 900,000 customers. That is the case. And then we add the turnover, which is whoa, a very high number, 735,900. Maybe it should work. Let me check if that's enough. Oh no! Don't panic. That's just zeros missing, or more zeros. maybe. One more zero, I guess. So guys, there we go. Now it looks complete. Woo! And I still can't understand, even though default rate doesn't look so great, I still don't get it why the price is dropping and tanking. It's absolutely not a problem. You know, I mean, I love if price is getting lower, even the performance is nice. That's absolutely fine. Maybe sometimes investors have higher expectations. They just take some money out of the market and invest it in some other areas. There are different reasons why this could be the case, but I understand why Warren Buffett kept this investment into Nubank. And if I find somehow a chance to invest more money, or if I could travel back in the past, yeah, like Marty McFly, I would love to invest more money in Nubank. But of course, later on, you're always more smarter and intelligent, and yeah. Okay, maybe then I would prefer to invest money in Nvidia or in micro, how they call it, I don't know, some semiconductor companies, yeah, or in crypto or whatsoever. But I'm happy how it is actually, guys. I have a roof above me. Even guys, I'm not leaving. Nick, I'm not living in the car. Yeah, I need to make that clear. Yeah, that's not the case. I'm living in a regular apartment. I have a dog and this kind of stuff. Everything is good so far. Okay. However, so we can see, I mean, revenue growth year over year is 60. It's crazy, man, guys. It's 69%, and you can see it here. I entered the year-on-year growth of last quarter, yeah. So it's improving. It's still improving, yeah. That's crazy. It's crazy. They didn't reach the peak. They didn't reach the peak. It looks like they will crush guidance. Impressive. I'm very looking forward to read in the next days the call transcript and figuring out what might be the case, why it's not going up like 5 or 10%, yeah. But it's fine. I have a lot of time, and I guess if it's not happening now, it will happen in the future. Then we have customer base in Brazil, and you can see here, first time it hit the peak, yeah. It's getting lower. So last quarter it was 23%. How much money they have under management, we can check out quickly. If it's Seeking Alpha, it's stating it. So if I need this kind of information, you have different sources, but here's the ownership. You can see it here. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I think both co-founders, I think they have something like 10-15%, if I'm not wrong. But there's definitely some how you call it. But they are definitely invested, let's say it like this, yeah? They're definitely invested, that's definitely the case. That's an additional, yeah, you're absolutely right, and it's great that you're asking this kind of question. That's additional advantage of this investment, yeah? So, I mean, it's about their own money, and I think the CEO and the founder of the company, who's still the CEO, he's something like, three-digit million, or I think a billion, 1 or 2 billion he's invested in at least. So there's definitely some money in this pocket, yeah. And where you can see it, is it something like corporations, private? Not sure, but it's something like I think it's 10-15% the management, something like this. This is because I think still two co-founders, or the major founder and I think the co-founders still involved in the management board in the C class active, yeah. So that's definitely good. Okay, guys, but let's go back into the Excel sheet and let's take a look at the numbers. And look, so revenue is crazy. It's not picked yet. It's still an improvement, even that's not strong, but very crazy, very good. And of course, then you can understand why it achieved 2.7 billion US dollars revenue just in this quarter and achieved this strong beat. Then we take a look at the customer base. Brazil, it's peaking. Of course, it's peaking. I mean, you can't improve without any limit. I mean, again, 250 million people are living over there in Brazil, and they already have roughly 92 million as a customer base, or even a little bit more. Numbers are already a few weeks old. But when we take a look at Mexico, that is what I love to see. I mean, really, guys, are getting almost goosebumps. Yeah, that's just my opinion about this. I mean, maybe your opinion is different, but now they increased year on year by 106%, and last quarter year on year just 63%. Yeah, it might be the case that 1 year ago the results have been very strong already or something like this. But actually, you saw that the company is developing very strongly, very quickly, and Mexico, I mean, I've showed you that there is a lot of potential, a lot of investments going on, a lot of companies moving over there. You see below 127 million people living in Mexico. It's not a small country, not even for Asian standards or something like this. Really one of the largest countries by population in the world, yeah, or the larger ones, and definitely in the larger 20 or 10%, I guess. And so that's impressive, yeah. And Colombia, 50% from 219%. That is something what is not positive, yeah. If that's not mistaken, if I'm not missing something here, I mean the calculation should be right. But if they really have just 900,000, that is something negative. But who knows what is the reason? Or I mean, because I mean 50% is still not bad, but compared to Mexico, or compare it that to the growth last quarter year on year, yeah. However, I mean customer in total, you can see it. Even though it's getting a little bit lower in Brazil, in the major market, they're keeping the momentum more or less. It's still 26%, and that's crazy strong. And therefore, we can go back to the. But their people are broke, aren't they? But their people are broke. Which people are broke? The people who are living in Brazil? I don't think so. I mean, of course, the GDP, the gross domestic product per person who living there, per citizen, is lower than in Singapore, in Dubai, in the US, in Germany, and wherever you want to take a look at, yeah. But as well, not the lowest for sure. And I mean, the overall situation is improving. You know, they will make their money. I mean, that's the reason why I shared with you this RPAC. Yeah, you can see they're making money out of it. Yeah, and due to the fact that they have such a large customer base, even though that a single person on average is not that financially strong equipped, the overall result is really positive. You know, when you multiply RPAC, the revenue per active customer, like $11 in the quarter, with the number of customers, and compare this to the cost to serve, compare this with the net interest margin. Yeah, do your own calculation, but for me it looks good, and it's fine. And keep in mind that it's really improving. They're getting hungry. They're getting a lot of products now and services what they maybe couldn't achieve in the past in those markets. Yeah, And sometimes these developments starting to get quicker and quicker actually. And this is something what we should not leave out there, yeah? So there's still a lot of room for improvement. And it's a chance, it's not only a risk, it's a chance as well. So however, I mean, one more time, the customer base growth in Brazil, even though it's peaking, is positive for me, because 22% is still very, very high in my perspective. Mexico is very, very, very positive, and Colombia is negative. Yeah, that is my judgment, my verdict about this. And so I go to the browser, back to the, not to the browser, I go back to the PowerPoint sheet, and as you can see here, we have it, and Colombia is negative, even though it's 50%. Maybe I should not rate it. Is 50% negative, or was it just strong before? Maybe that's a difficult decision. I mean, Mexico for sure for me is positive. There's no doubt, very, very positive. But okay, let's leave it like this. I want to be a little bit more strict than less strict, let's say it like this. And I think that's fine, that's fair. But if I would give position 3 rating, I would give it yellow to green actually. Yellow to green, because Mexico is just that strong with this 106% growth year on year, what I really love to see. And now we go quickly back and taking a look at the last KPI, and that's the revenue per customer. And here we are, and this as well compared to wait, is this, wait, that is wrong. So here we are, now it's correct. Compare this to 1 year, 35% growth, and last quarter year on year was just 32%. So this as well is still increasing, not only the number of customers, but as well the revenue per customer, not only active customer in general. So through the whole quarter, yeah. So still something really impressive. And yeah, you can see that they're rolling out the products, they're doing cross-selling, this kind of stuff. That is very likely the reason for this. Or that's the reason for this. It's not just increasing prices. That will definitely be not the case and the cause for the situation. So that's as well something positive, and this is what we can make very, very quickly here, and very, very simple. And we go back and put this into, so here we go, and put this on green. That is green. This one is growth rate, keep it yellow, let's say it like this, even though I think Mexico was very, very positive with now 6.6 million customers, 1.5 more than 1 quarter ago. And so the short term, when I would rate this, I would push this into yellow. Actually, it's very clear. It's very clear when I take a look. Sorry, it's quite late. But the overall short-term aspects, my banking efficiency is yellow, is neutral. The product rollout in Brazil, so the cross-selling is going very, very well. Green, no doubt about this. The customer adoption in Mexico is very good. In Colombia, 50% sounds great, but compared to last quarter, year-on-year growth of 200%, not that impressive. So I put this on yellow. And the overall, and that's simple for me, the overall rating is a neutral one. Actually, it's not that heavy simple, because look guys, I mean, we need to keep in mind that, or I need to keep in mind that really for me revenue counts most, and revenue was a very, very strong beat in my perspective. Very strong in Brazil, I guess, very strong in Mexico. It's developing very, very strongly. Profit will follow, always follows the revenue on the long term. I mean, if the business is doing well and the company and the management is executing well. And so when I give you a verdict, I mean, for me, it's a neutral rating. But if I need to state a tendency, If it's more like negative neutral or positive neutral, for sure positive neutral. There is not a single doubt about this. It was a positive call, positive results for me, no question. And I think at this point in time, we can go back. We can check out one more time what is going on with the current. Now it's going up, and this is what I really expect. Honestly, guys, I expect it goes up way more higher. Yeah, I would be surprised if that's not the case. If that's not the case tomorrow or now after market, in the after hours, then I expect it will go up during the upcoming days. And guys, look, it is an expensive stock, but really there are a lot of soft aspects we talked about today, like this net promoter score, like this ownership of the management, then of the single KPIs. It's not just about revenue and profit and compare the companies with each other. And even though it's expensive, again, I would, if I would not be invested in, I would definitely think about it. That's just my opinion. What I would tell myself in this scenario, in this not real one. Yeah, but luckily I'm invested. However, that's the case. So even though it's not a classic, so famous US company, not active in all the markets over the globe, yeah, it's quite impressive. And now, last but not least, let's check out together what is the market reaction on Seeking Alpha, if there's a market reaction. And we can see here reports results. Yeah, so far so good. This is how it should be. You can see the beat revenue by 170 million. Yeah, I mean, there are always different analysts pages. I'm always relying on the investment.com the numbers, and this was a strong beat here. Gross profit, yeah, we already went through a lot of aspects over here, and I feel already quite informed. Let's see what is the feedback over here. So Valleywood stated, sometimes you just got a jiggle. This baby is a humdinger. So I'm not a native English speaking person, but that sounds for me like positive stuff. Yeah, maybe I quickly put this into DeepL one more time. Let's go here, check this out, and let's say what DeepL says. Manchmal. Okay. It sounds positive, even though the German translation sounds awkward. I guess it's a positive comment. Multi-backer for me, right to the moon. Come on your feet. Another great report. Juggernaut, very nice. Yeah, so 6 times from six different investors and users of Seeking Alpha page, which I can really recommend. It's 6 times positive. Yeah, and that's not by accident. I mean, if it would be somehow awkward or negative, people would state it. And in the chat, I'm not sure what is your reaction. So far, Nick, you have been very active, and I like that you ask questions. I mean, I guess we answered all the questions, and so far looking good. I check quickly simultaneously if still someone is watching. I know that I have now 2 more subscribers. Thank you very much, guys, to each of you. If you subscribe or not, doesn't make a difference. 11 people are watching. Highly appreciate this. I think that's way more than last quarter, and I love to set higher focus on this company and the business, on markets, on more exotic markets maybe, which don't experience the spotlight which other players from the US, for instance, receive. Guys, if you really liked, if you enjoyed this call, please feel free to subscribe as well, to give me a like, to add a comment under the video. If you have questions, send me a DM if you prefer this way. You could follow me as well on X, on Instagram, on Reddit. You can. My accounts are named A Sense of Capital. Even though I'm stating here and there when I buy something, I'm not that active at the moment, but I will get more and more active in the future when I have more time for this. But I'm definitely once in a week or in 2 weeks I'm posting something on this channels. And yeah, feel free to subscribe there as well, so you're always up to date. If I sell something, buy something, like in the morning today, I bought additional shares of StoneCo, the second Brazilian investment I'm a shareholder of. And if I do something on other stocks, you will figure it out there as well. So nobody can blame me later and tell, Julian, you told nobody that you purchased stocks, and now you tell you purchased at the lowest point in time, or lowest point when the stock was the cheapest or whatsoever. So I try to be 100% maximum transparent to you guys. And tomorrow will be the next earnings call. Very likely I will make it happen, not 100% sure, but the chances look great. I will talk about Grab. Grab is like Uber, so mobility and food delivery provider out of Southeast Asia, located in Singapore, active in I think 8 Southeast Asian markets. A very strong player there, almost monopolistic position, but it's an oligopolistic one, so there are few, but just a low number of players over there. And they're rolling out now very strongly the financial services. They have 2 banking licenses in Malaysia and in Singapore, and let's see what will be the results. Could be very delicious. Yeah, even though I think it's a more slow-moving company, because it has already an evaluation of earnings price value of 10 billion roughly. I think 8 billion, 9 billion, something like this. But you see it at Nu. It can go very quick, and maybe in the future, Grab, because they're rolling out the financial service and banking services in Southeast Asia, maybe Grab master the same execution and level of perfection like Nu did in the past years in Latin America. Yeah? So if you like Nu, Grab might be a catch as well. I mean, I'm actually a little bit too heavy invested in financial and banking, because of StoneCo is active in this business, Nu is active in this business, Grab is now active in this business. However, I just think that this providing a financial structure and banking in emerging markets like Latin America or parts of Asia, I think has a lot of is actually a great business. It's really adding value to the people over there, I think. And on the other hand, it's a great business and investment case, yeah, because I mean competition is a lot of times low, people are underbanked or unbanked, and so and the economies are growing and this kind of stuff. So looking forward to that you join as well tomorrow one more time. Guys, one more time the disclaimer, that was no financial consultation advice whatsoever. There's no guarantee of the correctness of the provided data. Yeah, make sure you do always your own evaluation, due diligence. It's your money. And most important, I mean, after earnings is before earnings, so I already prepare myself for the next earnings calls of StoneCo, of Hims and Hers of last week, of today, Nubank for the next earnings calls. Always be patient, be ready for everything, I guess, guys. And most crucial one, I think, guys, take care of yourself, stay healthy. I mean, money is not unimportant, I think, in a capitalistic world, but staying healthy is most important, being vital and being active. And so, guys, I would be a pleasure if you join tomorrow one more time to my earnings streams, to my live streams, and I hope you enjoyed, you liked today's episode. And yeah, if not, if you're not joining tomorrow or next week Monday, then maybe you join next quarter, and you are then, if you're not invested right now, maybe you are invested in Nu, and you are even a little bit more emotional involved. Yeah, so I wish you all the best. Have a great earnings season, and see you next time, maybe tomorrow. Bye bye, cheers.